Luther the Geek is was produced by the same people who produced The Children, and this is another great horror movie. It's about a guy who, as a kid, sees a drunk, like basically buy heads of chickens for money, then he loses his front teeth, gets steel ones instead, and he goes crazy. Don't really know why, and he bites the necks of people, and he talks only in chicken speak. And this is really, really funny, and this is really, really great as well. It's like this one scene where he's recently been released from prison because he's just done his time. He steals a bunch of eggs from the store, and then hands one off to like an old lady who drops it, and he gets so mad that he bites her neck off, and it's one of the funnier scenes of the movie. Skeleton Coast is another really good action movie about Ernest Borgnine, who is one of my favorite actors, and Robert Vaughn. This is like I think 20 years before they were together in basketball. Here's where David Zucker got his idea to put them together in a movie. This movie also features Arnold Waslow, who was the Mummy in the Mummy movies. He plays like this guy named Blades, who's really good with knives, and he's really cool in the movie. Everyone's really cool in this movie, because the plot is basically Robert Vaughn is the lead of this group of terrorists, and he kidnaps Ernest Borgnine's son, and they're kind of like mining for diamonds. So he has like a giant army and lives in a giant castle, and he's kind of bullying all the people who live in this place in Africa. So Ernest Borgnine kind of puts together an elite team of mercenaries to free the people and free his son. And this movie features actually like a shitload of explosions, and it's really entertaining. And it was obviously made kind of to relive the glory days of Dirty Dozen. And Borgnine actually was in, I think, all the Dirty Dozen sequels that were also made in the 80s, so he probably had no problem doing more Dirty Dozen movies. Despite that, I think he kind of detests violence, so it's kind of funny. Here we have another VHS. This one was actually released here in Iceland. This is Blades, and we have movies like Rubber now, which is about a killing rubber tire. It's gotten a lot of positive reviews, but A Killer Lawnmower is where it's at. This movie takes place on a golf course, and it follows this gardener just who creates this artificial intelligent lawnmower machine that goes crazy. And here we have Icelandic subtitle. It's one of the few Troma movies that was actually released in Iceland, and it's really funny. And the last 30 minutes is just a shot-from-shot remake of Jaws. And it's really, really funny. Here's like the Quint character, and you can see him here in the back getting eaten, and it's really funny. Found this at a flea market here in Iceland, and here we have Madigan's Millions. This was made in 1968 by Sidney Pink, another famous exploitation producer and filmmaker. This was made 1 year before Dustin Hoffman was in The Graduate, and this movie is basically, in my personal opinion, is just as funny and just as great as The Graduate. I think this is really underappreciated as a low-budget Italian-produced movie, and also has Cesar Romero, who at the time was kind of the star of the movie because this was Dustin Hoffman's first role ever. So Cesar Romero was kind of the main attraction when the movie was made. But and Dustin Hoffman apparently disowns this movie like various other early Troma stars do. But I actually thought he was really good in this. Dr. Hackenstein also has a pretty terrible cover. But this is kind of the Troma's Reanimator, minus a lot of the gore. A parody of Frankenstein and Reanimator and stuff like that. It's also really, really funny because the guy who is kind of making new life, he's kind of trying to resurrect his old girlfriend. The girls kind of get stuck in his house, and he just decides to kill them one by one, but he doesn't want to get caught, and he really doesn't want to do it either way. And it's a really, really fun movie. And Anne Ramsey is really funny in the movie. I think she gets arrested for being the murderer at one point. Phyllis Diller, I don't remember what she does in the movie, but she looks really young compared to how she looks today. Next we have Yeti, A Love Story, another one of the newer releases by Troma, and this one features a lot of gore, a lot of cool special effects. The monster effects look really cool. The movie kind of focuses on this cult who wants to use the Yeti for their own evil attempts, but he falls in love with his sacrifice, kind of like in Monster in the Closet and King Kong. Death Dancers also has a pretty horrid cover, but I think that's okay for the movie because this is one of the worst movies I've seen. but I love it. This of any movie in the world, this one falls under so bad it's good, and this movie is amazing. The poetic dialogue, the monologues, the camera movements, the kind of slow-mo atmo that you try to build up before they do something else, and this movie is like such a dramatic twist to it. It's a thriller, it's a drama, and the music is just wonderful. I mean, this is everything The Room tried to be. This pretty much sums up the movie, unfortunately. Here we have another old school Troma release. This is Shark. This is Sam Fuller actually refused to have anything to do with this movie because a stunt guy died in the making of the movie, and the producer decided to advertise that as kind of the selling point. And Troma eventually just got their hands on this and gave it a proper release. Lloyd Kaufman actually gave this to me for free when I met him in 2005. And then that was just when I think they released this for the first time on DVD then. Before that, it's only been a VHS release. But Troma also did that. And it's actually a pretty good kind of suspense movie, and it's also featured in Terror Firmer. You know, there's only one movie with sharks, and that's Jaws, baby. Spielberg. Here we have some terrible movies. Actium, Maximus, War of the Alien Dinosaurs. The movie is kind of it really is the War of the Alien Dinosaurs, because like 90% of the characters are some sort of aliens, and it's all like some kind of it's shot in green screen, and it's only like a couple of human actors, and most of the aliens actually speak an alien dialect. And sometimes it's not even subtitled. Like the main bad guy is like this giant box, and at one point in the movie he just starts talking and the subtitles just read question marks, and that's when I just turned off the movie. Like the special effects are not amazing. They always look like they're falling apart. It kind of looks like a mixture between a Guar music video and a Green Jello music video without any actual effort put into it. But it's really trippy to look at. Star Worms Episode 2 is another classic Troma release. It was so good they just had to skip the first one to release the second one. It's actually a little bit better, and it was made in the 80s, and it's really funny to look at, and but it's also really boring as well. So this is kind of not the best DVD release, but this one's really corny, and this was really fucked up. So if you enjoy bad movies, I would recommend this. Slaughter Party is it's another movie that was produced by Troma, and features a big, beautiful cast of like B-movie kings, because this one was directed by the same guy who did Zombiegeddon, and he also he features even more B celebrities in that movie. He has Tom Savini and Edwin Neal, people that kind of cool to have in a movie. This movie is actually a pretty decent storyline and that, but it really, the editing is just terrible. There's the scenes drag on for too long. There's no sound effects when they really should have sound effect. The best thing about the movie is actually the trailer that Gabe Friedman, I think, edited, and that's how the entire movie should have been edited. This is I think the first movie with Felicia Rose in Sleepaway Camp. I could be wrong about that, but this is at least the first movie I've seen with her since Sleepaway Camp, and she's really good in this. She's actually acting and stuff, and Ron Jeremy appears only in one scene, but he's really funny as well. And Brink Stevens has the most useless cameo of all time. She just talks to one of the characters on the phone. I mean, they just got her just to get her, really. Now, while Pot Zombies features a lot of cool gore effects, I mean, they should have done another final cut of this movie before they released it, because some of the scenes drag on for too long. Some of the scenes are just so unprofessional. I mean, they had to they released it kind of in your Make Your Own Damn Movie Volume 1 Young Filmmaker series, because this the production values are sometimes really bad. It's really it sucks, because sometimes when Lloyd Kaufman plays this mentally retarded pizza boy in the movie and he gets killed, and that scene looks really well done, and just if the movie had been re-edited a little bit, it would have been a lot better, in my personal opinion. Mulva Zombie Ass Kicker and Filthy McNasty, and this two movies made by Chris Seaver, and this was actually released by Splatter Rampage. It's not released by Troma. Chris Seaver kind of worked for Troma, I think, when he made these movies, and he actually kind of planned to have them released by Troma. Lloyd Kaufman appears as the president of Tromaville, where the movies take place, and Toxie and Kabuki Men both appear in this, and Doug Sackman, another a Troma alumni, he plays the head zombie. And actually, and like Trent Hagen and Deborah Rushan appear in the movie as well. Chris Seaver plays like a character called Bonejack, who kind of wears a black face and Don King wig and talks like Bill Cosby. The worst thing about this movie is actually how like they take jokes from other movies. Like Filthy McNasty features a long song that's just completely stolen from Tenacious D, and Filthy McNasty himself or itself quotes Jay and Silent Bob. So at points this kind of felt like what Jason Aaron and Seltzer Freeberg, or whatever their names are, the guys that did Date Movie and Epic Movie, are kind of doing. They're just kind of taking stuff that's already funny and just kind of doing it again. But that's only Filthy McNasty. I think Mulva Zombie Ass Kicker is actually a decent low-budget movie. And I have it in my Troma section because it was obviously intended to be a Troma release. And Chris Seaver has made a couple of movies that are supposed to be released by Troma, but haven't yet seen the light of day. And he was set to direct a Sergeant Kabuki sequel at one point. And he recently produced what was set to be his last movie in this universe, and Troma produced that, financed everything, and was even edited by Troma. So hopefully they will release that, because I think Chris Seaver deserves at least one true official Troma release. Zombies vs. Satan, which is another double feature. This one has two movies released in 2003, which was shot digitally, part of the Dogpile 95 digital film collection, which is Lloyd Kaufman's answer to Dogma 95. Wiseguys vs. Zombies is really bad. The effects are kinda okay, but like one of the lead characters is trying to pretend that he's Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver throughout the movie. That might have been like supposed to be funny, but I just thought it was annoying. It was just god awful. Need for Satan's Icebox was trying too hard to be shocking. It was actually a lot better than Wiseguys. I was able to sit through this one entirely. I don't know, both these movies really suck. And I don't know why Troma picked them up, really. Here's Alien Blood, and this one actually is a pirated DVD cover that I made myself from the Hollywood DVD release of the movie, because I think if I open it, you can see I actually drew the cover. Alien Blood. A friend of mine bought this movie in the flea market here in Iceland, and this is probably, in my personal opinion, this is probably the worst Troma movie ever. So I wanted it in my collection because I want all Troma movies in my collection, but I was not going to pay for it, so I just kind of made my own version of it. It's a movie about vampires and aliens, and no one talks for the first hour or so, and the effects are all really shitty. I don't understand why it's still being released, and it's one of Troma's more hottest items. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe this movie is actually really good. And here we have this is like the Rowan Group here. The Rowan Group focuses on releasing like older movies. Troma distributes them. It's like the best available transfers for like the oldest Hollywood classics and long lost, forgotten horror movies. And here we have Chamber of Horrors, which is a British horror movie. This is a sequel to The Bad Seed. Patty McCormack plays a little girl who turns out to be a lot more sinister than she looks. Now returns as the mother of a little girl, and she's just as sinister. And this one's actually really good, and it features a lot of other Troma classic actors like Brink Stevens, if I remember correctly. And here we have this is the first film noir directed by a woman, The Hitch-Hiker, and this one is really, really good. I think The Hitcher was at least partially inspired by this, because it's about like these two guys who are just going to go on a fishing trip, and they get picked up by this murderer who's also a hitchhiker, and he has like this crazy lazy eye that goes into all directions, and he can't close it. So like every night he just says, "Remember, I sleep with one eye open," and they can never know if he's awake or asleep. And it's really, really good. I think it's only like 50 minutes, so if you ever see it, I would recommend just to buy it and watch it right away. It was made in the 50s, and this is really, really good. And last but not least in my Rowan Troma collection is The White Zombie. This is the one that this is the best possible transfer on White Zombie, well, except for being the first zombie movie and featuring a great performance by Bela Lugosi. This movie actually, this DVD release features a lot of cool special features, including an interview with Bela Lugosi that he did, I thing to promote this movie, and another one that he did in the 50s right after he left the clinic for his morphine addiction. One of his interviews is like really staged, like everything was edited like a movie, and it ends with him kind of hearing someone calling him out in the distance, like some kind of ghost or something, and he kind of has to walk away because being an actor is only part of his gig. The other part is being some cool out-of-world necromancer or something, and that was really funny to watch.